Can you read to me the nameplate?
Judge Eboni K Williams.
So the only thing that matters in this particular courtroom is how I see it. I am from North Carolina by way of Louisiana with some West Coast cool and a New York edge. Do we have a problem, ma'am?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Equal justice is all about the most important values of our country: freedom, integrity, and those are the things that I'm striving for. Ma'am, you run your household, this man gets to run his. I decided to become an attorney and pursue the law. I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. This court cannot hold this woman accountable. People from all sectors of life, black, white, purple, gay, straight, queer, and that's what equal justice with Judge Eboni K Williams is all about.
Marissa Jackson claims the defendant gave her a gel manicure that caused an infection and sent her to urgent care. Nina Lee says the defendant was late and wanted her cuticles cut in a hurry.
I've got Marissa Jackson as my plaintiff here and Nina Lee as my defendant. Ms. Jackson, you are suing the defendant, I see, for $550. You say you sustained injuries. What brings you to court?
I'm suing her for my injuries. I had to go to urgent care, and I would also like a refund on my nail services because I contracted an infection at her nail salon.
What exactly did you get done, ma'am?
I went in for a gel manicure, a gel pedicure, and as she was doing my manicure, she nicked my cuticles, and I began to bleed. She did not swap out the equipment, continued the procedure, and I ended up having to go to urgent care for an infection on my hands.
My goodness. Well, do you have some billing from urgent care that the court can look at?
I most certainly do, Your Honor.
You go ahead and give Elijah your whole folder, Ms. Jackson, so I can review this evidence. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And let's see exactly what we got going on here. So I am starting with your urgent care bill, and the overall fee here was $430. So this is the vast majority of your claim. You want to be reimbursed?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to be reimbursed. And I didn't even charge her for the days of work that I missed.
Oh,
so
well,
that's
how
just
generous of you. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll see. Let's get the defendant involved here, ma'am. So you did provide nail services to the plaintiff?
Yes, I am the owner of Perfect Touch, but I am also a manicurist.
nail
I
technician.
tend to all of my clients myself.
Okay, great. And how long have you been in this business, ma'am?
I've been in this business for over 30 years and have my own salon for 15.
Okay, and have you ever had any troubles similar to this?
Never had any problems.
Well, why don't you let me know from your perspective what your experience was with the Miss Jackson here? She
walked in late and was rushing me. She was quite rude and rushing me to get the job done. I said, okay, fine. So
Well, how long did everything take, Miss Jackson?
Everything approximately took, it was pretty fast this day because she was rushing through my services. If she couldn't take me, she should have just said that.
Oh, I
and
see.
I probably would have had to reschedule. But I was only 5 or 10 minutes late. I come at the same time every other Saturday.
So she has done your nails before and you've not had these problems?
Exactly,
Okay,
yes.
so, let's get back to you then, Miss Lee. She's saying that this is normally without incident, but things went terribly wrong on this day, and it led to what she is alleging is a pretty serious infection to the point where she had to have treatment.
Yes, and I don't feel that I should be held liable for that because I adhere to all the rules and regulations state board.
Well, let's talk about that because the plaintiff did provide the court with some guidelines here, and it looks like if indeed there was the nicking of the cuticle, as she alleges.
I was bleeding.
Okay. She says that she was bleeding. And according to that, if that was true, when you have the blood exposure, there's certain guidelines that then we have to enact, right? This talks about immediately stopping the service, controlling the bleeding. Then you're supposed to clean the wound. You're supposed to apply a bandage, dispose of any contaminated material, and then you have to disinfect the tools. That's a very key point, as I'm sure you know, Miss Lee. Then you have to let the client know, hey, we just had an incident here. And you need to take steps to address it. And you're supposed to report it to management, but you are management. So did you do these procedures, ma'am?
I did take a sterile cotton ball and I applied it to pressure to stop the bleeding.
Yes. Did that happen?
Not like how she says, Your Honor.
So then how did it happen?
She applied a cotton ball and asked me to hold it while she continued clipping the cuticles with the same tool.
Oh, so well, wait a minute now, because you were supposed to immediately disinfect the tool, Miss Lee.
Well, we disinfect between each client.
Oh, no, but that's not what the guideline here says. This is very important. that the guideline indicates that you are supposed to disinfect the tools thoroughly and disinfect all tools that have been contaminated immediately upon incident. So it sounds like you didn't do that, ma'am, because you do both admit that blood exposure occurred in your salon, ma'am.
Yes, but it was very minor. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
She dipped them back in the water and just kept going.
Okay, let's.
That's not
I was
what happened.
told that there were some photos of the nails so that I could see what this looks like.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's see if we can get that for the courtroom to see exactly what the nail situation looked like. I'm gonna tell you, Miss Lee, that does not look minor to me. We're seeing redness. I mean, it is making my fingers hurt just looking at it, to be honest with you, Miss Lee.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
I'm now going to share with the court a fun fact. I used to be a licensed nail tech, Miss Lee, in the state of North Carolina. Look at like a little fun fact. Learn something new about the judge every day, don't you?
And later,
I'm today years old realizing that chipmunks are actual animals. No, I'm serious. Look, don't judge me, Elijah.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with a dispute between Marissa Jackson and Nina Lee over a manicure mishap.
What was the time span, ma'am, between when you got the services and when you got to urgent care?
It was one day. I woke up the next morning and I called my sister, who's a cosmetologist.
Were you in pain?
I was in pain, yes, I was. It was even worse than the first day. Now, when I left her salon, I was able to go to work, but I had gloves on. And every time I went to do something, tie a bow, I'm a florist.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you do for work? So
I'm
you're
a florist, so I work with my hands, but I do have a staff. Mainly on this day, I just had to tie a couple of bows, but I put a Band-Aid on it and put some gloves on. But by the time I got finished working, my hands were so sore. So I just took a pain pill and went to sleep. I woke up the next morning and I saw this. I called my sister, who's a cosmetologist. I said, what was she supposed to do? I think I got an infection. This is the picture I actually sent my sister.
Wow.
And she said, that's an infection. You have to go to urgent care.
Yeah, I mean, it looks infected. It looks inflamed, swollen, tender. This looks very bad, ma'am. Now, I don't like hearing that you had to put a bandage on it, ma'am, because Miss Lee, that was a part of your requirement. Right here, it says to apply a bandage. Why did you not do so?
She wanted me to finish her nails, and I can't put a bandage and do her nails at the same time. I mean,
well, is that true, Ms. Jackson? Were you concerned about finishing the cosmetic work?
I did not say, please finish doing my nails.
Okay.
Do not tend to my wounded finger.
Okay.
But you did say you had to go to work after, and you
All right, let me
needed your
get
nails
back
done.
to the dollar amount, Ms. Lee. I see you have submitted, Ms. Jackson, a receipt for the cost of services. This is the manicure was $65 and the pedicure was $55. So you spent $131.99 and you want a refund on that.
I would like a refund on that as well, yes.
Well, how was the pedicure, ma'am?
The pedicure was nice.
Okay, so your pedicure was satisfactory, but you think you shouldn't pay for either because of the injuries you sustained?
Absolutely. I feel as customer service, she should be willing to credit me back for my bold experience.
Let me ask you how your hand is doing now, ma'am.
They are doing much better, but I have not worn gel polish since because I'm actually a little intimidated to get my cuticles clipped.
Well, yeah, and that's always been controversial in your industry. Is that correct, Ms. Lee?
That's correct. People have the option to just have the cuticles pushed back, or pushed back and trimmed. And in our previous sessions before, she's always had them trimmed as well. So I'm just following
what you
were
normally do.
rushing.
I was just following. You were rushing me.
Okay. Here's the thing. This is, I'm very sorry that you sustained these injuries, but I'm glad to hear that you have recovered. It sounds like in full and you're back to work successfully.
Yes, I have.
You, Miss Lee, I'm glad to hear you've had a very successful business, it sounds like, for the better part of, did you say 15 years?
15 years I've owned the business. I've been doing nails for 30.
That's amazing. So,
You were nervous?
hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I'm now going to share with the court a fun fact. I used to be a licensed nail tech, Miss Lee, in the state of North Carolina. Look at like a little fun fact. Learn something new about the judge every day, don't you?
There we go.
Yes, went to nail school and everything, got my license, and also performed pedicures and manicures. And I remember back in nail school that it was highly controversial, this notion of cuticle clipping, for the reasons we're discussing. because one could be exercising the utmost diligence in their role as the nail technician, and these types of accidents just can happen because the cuticle skin, I mean, everybody look at your cuticles for a minute. Seriously. Everybody in the courtroom. Do you see how thin they are? Y'all see how fragile and delicate they are? I mean, it's really, truly a miracle that this doesn't happen more often, quite frankly. And with the world we live in today, people working with their hands, people always on their phones, people always just touching things, and all the stuff that we've been through with the pandemic. Goodness, we know how communicative some of these diseases and germs can be. It's kind of the nature of the procedure to be, I would say, almost disproportionately presenting a risk of harm or injury. I'm going through the minutia of this because it's all going to affect my ruling. The truth is we all know that we get a choice, Ms. Jackson. We can opt out of the cuticle cutting to do what? Reduce the risk of this exact kind of injury. You chose not to do that. You say, I want my cuticles cut down for whatever reason, and that's your prerogative. But this court does feel that because of the very high kind of danger zone of cuticle cutting as a practice, which is allowed but optional for this reason. This is why I don't get my cuticles cut, to be honest with you. And no shame, no judgment if you do, but this is too high of a risk of harm that the court does feel that you opted into voluntarily. Therefore, I'm glad you recovered. I do hate that this cost you money, but I'm gonna chalk this up, ma'am, to the cost of incurring the risk of your choice to get your cuticles cut, okay? So therefore, the plaintiff's claim is dismissed in full, and I wish you, the very best in your business. Ms. Lee, I do want you to be as sanitary as possible, as you say you have been, and we'll keep a close eye on it. That's my ruling.
Thank you, Judge.
All rise.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is dismissed.
I feel that the judge made the correct decision. Thank you.
Perfect nails, perfect fail is what it was. That's a service that she offers. She should be responsible for being sanitary. I can't believe it.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
They, unfortunately, that night, they chewed a hole into my couch cushion. I'm assuming using it for bedding. I'm not sure.
This is Equal Justice. Ellie Smith claims there were chipmunks in the Christmas tree she purchased from the defendant's lot, and they caused damage inside her home. Devin Geyer says he made sure he delivered a critter-free tree to Miss Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ellie Smith here for my plaintiff, and Devin Geyer here as my defendant. Ms. Smith, you are suing Mr. Geyer for $1,200. What brings you to court, ma'am?
My name is Ellie Smith, and I'm a single mom with 2 young children. And last Christmas, I purchased a Christmas tree from Mr. Geyer's Christmas tree lot that came with 2 very destructive chipmunks.
That were in the tree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Unbeknownst?
Yes, Your Honor.
So she claims, Your Honor.
Now, I have a confession to make. They're gonna, so people gonna laugh at me in the court. I'm today years old realizing that chipmunks are actual animals. No, I'm serious. Don't judge me, Elijah.
Okay.
I only knew about the cartoon.
Okay.
And somebody just informed me that I've probably been looking at chipmunks my whole life thinking they were squirrels.
Okay.
So I'm still processing this, Mr. Guy. But as I process this, I do have business to conduct in this courtroom, so don't mind me. Okay, so actual real-life chipmunks habitate inside of trees, Christmas trees from time to time?
Well, inside of trees in general, Your
In
Honor.
general?
Yes.
You don't even believe that the chipmunks came from your tree.
I shake every tree that I sell when it comes into my
There's
lot
no
to
way.
make sure it gets chopped down, brought from the farm, so it's not like in a necessarily wild environment. Maybe some type of chipmunk or any other type of rodent might get in there while it's sitting in the lot.
Maybe.
But me or my delivery guy, Eduardo, at any point when we're delivering the tree, we give it a final shake, it rides on the truck. There's no way these chipmunks could ride with the tree the whole way.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
My kids sat down to watch TV, and I was with them, and then suddenly one of them saw something running across the floor and screamed "rat" and jumped up on the
See,
sofa.
it's not just me.
And
The
then
baby
the other...
said red.
This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with a case of Ellie Smith, who blames Devin Geyer for chipmunk damage in her home.
Well, let's move this story along a bit. Let's get to the evidence, Ms. Smith. Do you have some folders for me?
I do
Please
have
give that to
some
Elijah, so I can see exactly what you are demanding financially. which is $1,200. So it looks like,
I can explain where the charges come from.
well, please do.
Okay. That night after the tree was delivered, and I did not see his delivery person shake or bounce the tree in any way, as he's claiming.
We're not trying to dent the floor, Your Honor.
What'd you say, sir?
We're not trying to dent the floor when we shake the tree. It's a subtle
Okay,
process.
all right, Mr. Guy. I hear
But
you. Let's get
They
to it.
showed up late afternoon, evening, came into my living room, set up the tree, left. It looked great. It smelled great. It was amazing. My kids sat down to watch TV, and I was with them. And then suddenly one of them saw something running across the floor and screamed "rat" and jumped up on the
See,
sofa.
it's not just me.
And
The
then
baby said rat.
Then the other kid did the same thing. So I have two screaming children, and then another chipmunk appeared.
So there were two
There were two.
actual real-life chipmunks.
Actual chipmunks. They, unfortunately, that night, they chewed a hole into my couch cushion. I'm assuming using it for bedding. I'm not sure. And then I had to call a humane removal service because my children heard me talking to a normal removal service, and
An exterminator.
They were totally against these chipmunks being murdered. So I had to
goodness.
go above and beyond to find a humane removal service for them.
So your kids actually were like, Mommy,
Please
we
don't
hurt
kill
the-"
our guests.
Judge Eboni's verdict when equal justice returns. This is Equal Justice.
So the court is satisfied that Ms. Smith was operating in good faith operations as a consumer, as any one of us in this room would have done. She patronized your business. She paid you for your tree. She was very pleased with the tree itself. But the nature of what you do, sir, so I'm not faulting you, but there is an element of heightened duty on your part because of the nature of what you do and everything that comes with it. So my advice to you, sir, is to keep doing what you're doing. I love that you have a business going for yourself. You seem really successful, but you're probably gonna have to be even more careful, have more due diligence. You might wanna think about eliminating this delivery thing because that's increasing your liability. Had Miss Smith told me that she bought the tree from your lot, put it on a truck herself, or had a third party relocate the tree from your lot to her home, I would be holding that third party or Miss Smith liable. Unfortunately, due to nature, and that's a part of your business, that wasn't the case here today. I rule in favor of the plaintiff for her full amount asked. $1,200 to the plaintiff. That is my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $1,200.
Any final thoughts, man?
I think this was a fair ruling, and I'm glad to put this chipmunk adventure behind me.
Any final thoughts?
The judge did not bring tidings of comfort and joy.
You've had your day in court. Please grab your belongings and follow me.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.